just going to say it up top. Like, this episode is not going to be good. I don't know what New England is.
I think it's fair. You can say that at the top of like every pod that we record. Really this one, not much better than the last.
That's our slogan.
Yeah.
Maybe when we hit 50, we'll kind of like figure out our stride quickly. All right. So intro. I'm going to change up like a little bit. When I ask the intro question, I want you guys to respond. Okay.
You want us to what? Sorry, you cut out for me.
The intro question. You want us to respond to the intro question.
That dares to ask the question. I'm going to ask a question. It's usually everybody's quiet. I go on to the next thing. This time, I'm going to ask the question. I want you guys to all respond to the question.
Oh.
It's just natural. Just going to react as quick as you can, okay?
Oh, knee jerk. Okay.
All right. Ready? Here we go. Naveen, leave all of this in.
Okay.
Welcome to episode 49 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, what was that, Mumbles?
Big word.
And
Rebel.
955,553 matchsticks.
Yeah.
Toothpicks.
That's a reference.
Get this man
tonight we're reviewing the Dick Tracy villain names that we picked for each other. I know what all these are except for the ones that Eric picked for me that he refused to declare before we were on mic. So I'll start. Joining us tonight, our host Andy, aka Inky McGee.
Hey.
Our musical criminal host Naveen, aka Flatpick Brown.
All right. Hello. Flatpick Brown.
Put a little baritone in the voice there. And Pod Daddy Eric, aka Big Papa Cherry.
Big Papa Cherry?
Big Papa Cherry.
Chicken jockey.
And Papa, how about you introduce me?
And introducing our fantastic Johnny Vegas, aka Tentacle Daddy, and his pet octopus, Tiny Two Bells.
Oh, he's got him.
Here, let's hear it. Oh, he's getting hungry.
Who's up for dinner?
They're getting warmed up.
Yeah.
They're just getting warmed up. They've been frozen.
All of our content is currently up on the Rebels Without a Pod YouTube channel. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Brief addendum to the previous episode. When discussing the lady midget and her 6'2" boyfriend at the Chris Jericho rock show, at no point was it ever asked, I wonder if the two of them ever 60.9. We regret any inconvenience this may have caused. Charlie was about to come back in the room, but now he's left again.
I'm back.
Wait, what is it? What is that relationship called again? When it's like a normal sized human is together with a midget?
That's like...
lopsided. Sorry. I was saving that one.
Midgetophilia? It's 70-30.
70-30. Ooh.
6:30 is my favorite time, hands down. I told you this is going to be a terrible episode. Look.
So far, so good.
Everybody is sweating. Nothing's going.
Do we want to break out our acapella Lollipop Kids song? It's
let's wait till Vigo goes on that.
Okay.
Fair enough. Today we're concluding our Neo-Neo-Noir cycle with Warren Beatty's film Dick Tracy. But first, we're going to do a little kind of like an interstitial segment. Our Youth in America correspondent, Charlie, is back on the show to talk a little bit about the year's cinematic sensation crossing over like the previous weekend, $800 million worldwide at the box office.
Incredible.
Projected to break $1 billion at some point in the next few months. But Charlie, you're here to talk about the Minecraft movie for a little bit, a film you got the chance to see like a few weeks ago.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So so real quick before we start there, we got some questions for you, but I wanted to. Eric and myself also had like the chance to sort of watch this film. I can at least sort of speak for myself. I was kind of confused. Yeah. I took a run through like the letterbox reviews after I kind of got out of a Minecraft movie. And I just wanted to kind of like read like a sample real quick. First one, the top rated letterbox review on a Minecraft movie, like a single 1/2 star out of 5. It's just a single line review that says there's a character named General Chungus.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Other letterbox reviews. This was so stupid. I loved it. Yep. Are you finished? No, I think he's Swedish. Peak screenwriting. Men on Earth are so bad. Have to resort to Minecraft villagers. This feels like it was written by the 5-year-olds at preschool that play Minecraft on my iPad. 1.5 star review here. Absolutely horrific. My idiot kids adored it. Jack Black should be fired into the sun. It's kind of like Scott Pilgrim meets The Room. All I'm hearing is chicken jockey this, chicken jockey that. How about you start chicking some job sites? And then finally, a 3.5 star, 2-word review. It just says Jack Block.
Jack Block. Okay.
Block.
Clever.
Can I add one I found online?
Sure, shoot.
Jason Momoa and Jack Black 69 was the highlight of my year.
Yep. Yeah. That's the whole movie.
It's not been
that
a good
is
year
not
for
a quote
anybody
for me,
else.
by the way.
All right.
I swear there was multiple moments of tension where I thought they were just going to start making out. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. So so
That's
Charlie,
what kept me going.
We
Would that also be called lopsided?
Yeah.
I was looking for me in Jason Momoa lopsided action.
Oh. Big strong.
3.5 stars and a 60 point. Charlie, up top. So curious. We do know from previous conversations you're a gamer. Any experience like the Minecraft game, either the Minecraft game itself, or kind of like some of the other similar kind of contemporary crafting, the Stardew Valleys, Roblox, like whatever else?
Over the last, I'd say over the last maybe 10 years of me owning a PlayStation, I've been consistently playing Minecraft.
Really?
So I've probably got 200 plus hours on the game. So I'm basically an expert at this point.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. How many worlds have you created? Just say it. Too many to count.
1, 2. More than 2.
More than 2.
More than 2.
Interesting. So I've got like a little. I put like 20, maybe 30 hours in the game. Do you play the kind of campaign story version of it, where there's kind of a night and day cycle, and you fight the monsters, or do you just like the? Oh, okay.
I thought you were doing the creative. No. I'm a
Survival mode.
No, you're a survivalist. I'm sorry. I couldn't tell by your undershirt. I braved the wilderness. Right.
So when you're playing, when you're doing like a project, or you're doing like a particular world of Minecraft, how do you kind of get to a point where like I've sort of done everything I can? What sort of inspires you to kind of stop working on one world and go into something like completely new? So
have you ever heard the term 2-week Minecraft phase?
2 week? I don't believe so. No.
So it's once every year. Kids who grow up with the game say that they always get this like itch to play Minecraft, like just start a new survival world and then just like play it until it basically spoils. So like you do all the stuff like you want to do, and then you just can't really think anything else. You just drop the game for another year.
Interesting.
And like it's usually just like a metamorphosis, like you got a time where you're into it and a time where you're not.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically you sort of you have kind of like an emotional through line, like sort of playing the game where like you're interested, it's fun, that you're engaged, you kind of do stuff, you have projects that you want to do in your head, but at one point something in your head just kind of says, I think I'm sort of just done with this now, and that's kind of when you stop doing with someone. Yeah. Interesting.
Let me ask you this. How many times have you gone back to Pokemon cards? Because I heard it came back around again, and there's like a shortage now.
Yeah, they are. I probably have like a phase of that also. Not once every year, but once every like few years.
Okay.
Like I find it interesting, but then I'm just like, it's cardboard, so I kind of
Sure.
like,
Right.
kind of like. I mean, okay, money's just paper.
That's fair. I get it. I know how
I
money
get
works.
philosophical pretty early in the show.
I know.
Into
Yeah,
a
I
whole,
know. That's deep. Question is, how do you manage through one of those Pokemon card phases? Do you just go out and buy like a pack or like a booster box,
It's like
or
I have
download
this,
the
like,
app?
I have this like Twitch like in my hand, and like every time I like get like the fiending for that, like
Yeah.
I've been sober for a few years now. Like I'm
Good for you, saving your dad some money.
yeah, it's been a while since I've relapsed.
You did relapse into the game not that long ago, maybe a few
Oh
weeks
no,
ago.
it never stopped. I've always
Yeah,
been
but you
sober.
got like hardcore into it for a little while there.
Like
and you had
Pokemon Go?
Come on.
Okay, well,
You guys used to do Pokemon Go as a family? Was that like a big thing? No.
Me and my mom did. My mom would like play it on the train and just like spin Pokestops while she was like driving the train to work.
Oh,
I'd be
that's
like,
cool.
"Thanks, Mom."
Let's.
Yeah, Dad's not as cool.
No,
nope, never have been.
never has been.
Realist.
So Charlie, going to like the Minecraft movie, could you tell us a little bit about like the theater going experience? Was it mostly people your age? Was like a full or empty theater where people like just worked up or like on the sedate side?
So I didn't have like the pleasure to go opening weekend and see all like the live chickens being thrown around and like popcorn
Jeez.
and hurled throughout the theater. But I went the weekend after with my close family friend Jack, and like it wasn't rowdy, I'd say, because there were more like I'm not gonna say older, but just like more middle-aged people that really didn't know what they were going
Old,
to see.
old people.
Old as dirt.
Yeah.
Calm, responsible.
Literally people like me that are going in the second weekend out of like morbid curiosity.
You eat the popcorn, and when you spill the popcorn, you just kind of groan because you wasted popcorn.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And you also remember life.
Yeah, I know. You remember how much you paid for that popcorn? It's like
I wanted to
$37.
So as like the movie was going on, were like the people there that your age getting like really excited for like this thing, or?
Well, there was this like group of teenagers behind me, and then another group in the front of the theater that were kind of that knew all the quotes. I was honestly kind of surprised because like the amount of like just dedication that I saw from those people, because like they know like every quote. I knew most of them, but like
They knew every quote after this movie's been in theaters a week.
Let me guess.
before they saw the movie. Before they saw the movie, they knew all the quotes.
Like the Lava Chicken song, they knew every word to it.
I knew every word.
Oh, you knew it too. Okay. Yeah.
Jesus. All right. So like general impressions, like the movie itself, was it something that you enjoyed? Like
that, I loved it, honestly. I just thought it was like, I mean, I have a really okay. I forget the crowd I'm talking to. I was about to say like I have pretty lowbrow humor, but that's kind of like the whole point of the podcast. So
that is what we kind of landed on. Yeah.
Accurate. It's the highest of lowbrow humor, and that I appreciated, and I thought it was interesting that like just seeing stuff in 3D. Okay, well that was a stupid thing to say. It's always in 3D, like on the big screen. We'll say that.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. It was fun to see honestly, if I'd have gone without my friend, then it wouldn't have been as fun. But seeing as I did, I really enjoyed it. Honestly,
Right. Just to having your buddies there at the same time. It's sort of been a movement. It's sort of been like a thing that teenagers really like, that the adults are sort of confused by, and that sort of that kind of can sweeten the pot for like seeing a movie like that.
100%.
So something I noticed when I was watching the movie, I kept stopping like every 5 minutes and asking my son, because I went with him. I said, "Does this really happen in the game?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, they have that." I'm like, "What about this?" Yeah. So you can make lava chicken in the game. It's like they have it now. I'm like, okay.
I'm kind of.
Yeah, I'm like, chicken jockey. That seems like bullshit. Is it true? And he's just
No,
like,
perfect.
yeah, chicken jockey. And I'm like, what about like mini creeper? Or like, no, mini zombie. He's like, yeah, mini zombie. I'm like, okay, normal zombie. Okay, zombie pig. Sure. It's just all these different things. I'm just like, this can't be real. And it happens.
Like the game itself it's been out for like multiple decades at this point, and the content has been repeatedly iterated on, like my understanding. They're always adding new stuff. They're always adding like new ideas.
Yeah. Just
So,
recently.
what was the thing in the movie, Charlie, you laughed the hardest at out of all of it?
Dude, I don't know.
Was
It
it?
was just the stupid stuff, honestly. Just because I was sitting next to my meathead friend, and
Mhm.
we were kind of like throat laughing, like with that kind of laugh.
Butthead and Butterhead.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. The thing that did like two things made me really like laugh kind of hard at the movie. Like one, there's like a mid-credit scene of like Jennifer Coolidge. The whole movie ends up dating like a Minecraft villager. And for whatever reason, in a mid-credit scene, the Minecraft villager who they always talk like, what's her name? Like for whatever reason, in this scene, he just randomly gains Matt Berry's voice.
Yep. And
So-
then
Matt Berry from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes, the same.
and then she learns how to speak village.
And she's so overwhelmed by him talking to her in the Matt Berry's voice that she just starts going. Yeah. I laughed really hard at that, and then like the screening that I was at, like the teenagers kind of sitting behind me who are like pretty sedate for the most part, but about half the crowd was like teen girls, and like there's this one scene where these two pandas sitting next to each other, and one panda hands the other panda like a string of bamboo, and the other like the pandas, they both have like little kind of red hearts kind of pop out of their heads, and like a baby panda like immediately sort of kind of pops between them.
Yeah, that's
Every single girl in the theater freaked out at the exact same time with that. I was just like, I really found that funny for some reason.
Well, but then Jack Black came flying out of the sky and then threw a water bucket at him, right?
It's true.
Yeah, I think at that point maybe I was like fading and out. Is Jack Black like I've been reading about this a bit. It's interesting. Jack Black, for kind of like guys our age, our associations are like what, like High Fidelity and Tenacious D, and like a guy who was really kind of like a just really kind of
The
funny
Holiday.
rock star and kind of like alt comedian. But like Charlie, for like kind of kids your age, he's sort of like a big deal voice actor. He's been like a lot of like movies that kind of important for you.
Yeah. I mean, also, I feel like his relation to like the reason he was okay in this movie is because not okay. He was great, honestly. It was stupid. It was awesome. But I think the reason why like it kind of worked in the end is because you ever seen the channel Jablinski Games?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a gamer.
He's a gamer, yeah.
Yes, yeah, he has his own YouTube channel. I showed my son one of his videos the other day where he just gives I think he filmed this like a year ago. He's just like, it's all gotta go. And then he just shaved his head. He shaved all his facial hair off and everything.
Mhm.
And so I showed my son like the picture afterwards, and I'm like, yeah, that's Jack Black. He just shaved everything off, and he's just like,
Yeah.
who is that? And I'm like,
he grew it all back in like
sorry.
9
Yeah, it's crazy.
Charlie, so last question for you. Like, so this director, he's famous for like a couple other comedy movies. One with Jack Black called Nacho Libre, and then a film I'm not particularly fond of, but it's one of Eric's favorite things. Just to kind of just like it's an all timer for him. But
Just say it.
fucking just
Just say it. Fucking
Napoleon Dynamite, which is
so
just,
good.
not
Love it.
So good.
Love it.
love.
Tina.
Eat your ham.
Eat your food.
Eat your ham.
Tina.
So Charlie, were you a fan of like these movies as well? Were you kind of coming in sort of like having like a sense of kind of what to expect from this?
Oh yeah, I expected a hearty throat chuckle, as I said, like the.
So wait, but the question: did you didn't know that the director of the Minecraft movie was the same director that did those other two movies?
I knew that it was Napoleon Dynamite, but I didn't know he did Nacho Libre.
I mean, did you vote for Pedro or?
I mean,
Both of those movies have been watched a number of times in this household,
Yeah.
I
and
voted
both
for Pedro.
children love him.
Nacho Libre is
Yeah.
more
Not really, but like pretty good. I remember like laughing at that. Like for whatever reason, Napoleon Dynamite is just, I don't know, it's kind of like negative energy for me.
Negative energy, anti-energy. It's too
Negative
close to
aura.
home. I just can't get behind it.
Yeah,
I know too many people like that. I'm not told.
John loves technology.
Say that again.
John loves technology.
Is that
He
a reference?
loves technology.
That's
Not
fine.
as much as Malco, you see.
Full disclosure, I think I've only got like
I
30 minutes
love
of Napoleon
technology.
Dynamite. It's just kind of when you know, you know.
So it's like, this is a character. You've
Yeah.
established this as a character. From now on, you have to do that like once per episode.
You got it.
Vegas Johnny, bring him in the room. Give this man a mic and pass him a broom.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
He's got to clean up the chicken jockey mess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just ask your father about the bells when you're older. Charlie, thank you for that. Other than Minecraft movie, any other sort of like movies or TV or music you want to shout out that you've also been enjoying lately?
What about you? Watch a lot of YouTube.
I do.
What's your most favorite YouTube thing at the moment?
It's from this channel called Truth Social.
NBC News. No.
NBC News. He's like, all right, Dad, I give up. I've been watching Invincible. Okay,
On it, yeah.
so let's go.
Actually, no. That is one thing that I have been.
Have you? Yeah.
Not like recently, like a couple months ago, but yeah.
My son asked me if he could watch. I said no. I don't want to catch you watching it. And then he's like, made it all the way through season 2. Awesome.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. The third season was really fantastic. Yeah.
100%. And then like I've been listening to more rock music lately.
What kind?
I couldn't tell you honestly.
Apple Music.
Yeah.
Apple Music.
Just kind of moving away from rap.
Oh man.
And I don't.
He's not keeping it real.
What?
You're
not keeping it real.
You're not cool with like Drake anymore. I know you're like a big Drake fan.
Well, no, he was a Kendrick fan.
All right.
Kendrick fan.
Come on, man.
Sitting there
Drake's a
listening to Drake and throat laughing.
Charlie's not like us.
Wow, that was an accident. Not gonna lie.
At least your voice didn't crack.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's new. That's a new thing too.
That's awesome, Dad.
Awesome. Well, thank you kindly for all that, Charlie. That was, Papa, we never really kind of got the chance to talk about this, but did you enjoy the movie yourself, or like
Just
I
call
like
me
it.
Pop?
Pop? Yeah.
Pop.
I think our relationship's like evolving. I'm Papa to now Pop.
It's been devolving the entire time. Let's go.
Big Papa Cherry.
Big Papa Cherry.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
So
Did I like the movie?
Yeah.
You want my honest opinion? I was confused. I mean, I went to the movie with somebody who I asked him. I said, I'm going to give you 3 movies. Tell me which is your favorite. Mario movie, Sonic 3, or Minecraft. And the answer was number 1 is Minecraft.
Really?
Number 2 is Mario movie. Number 3, Sonic 3. I don't know what happened. I don't know what Minecraft is doing to kids. I played maybe a total of like 2 hours. Right. And I did creative mode because I don't like getting killed all the time. Or starving, being attacked by zombies. But it had its moments. I thought Jason Momoa was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
He was better than I thought he was going to be honest. Because like I haven't seen any really like I've seen Aquaman. I haven't seen any like Jason Momoa comedies, so I don't know what he's going to bring to the table.
He's really inconsistent when it goes on SNL.
Sure, yeah. So I mean, I thought he was fine. I liked the character they created for him. I guess he had some input in like the writing, so that's kind of fun. The whole 69 scene was all his, by the way.
Right.
So I have a fun fact for that.
It's all that Aquaman training. He knows how to hold his breath.
No.
Nope. Okay,
No,
Naveen, cut all this out. We're probably.
How do you make Steve's lava chicken?
Really?
A chicken and body heat, produced by 2 loving men, pecker to pecker.
Consensual. It's consensual too.
Docking?
Right. Now that's lopsided.
Yeah, that is lopsided. Yeah.
Docking happens in the Minecraft movie?
Yeah,
I don't
pretty
think so.
Pretty much.
I don't think docking happens in the Minecraft
A
movie.
little bit of hazing too.
Docking is clearly not what you think it is.
No, I think it's exactly what it is. It kind of does happen.
Okay.
We're having a teaching moment right now.
Good to know.
There was sword fighting.
Good to know.
And I heard there was
On that
no
note,
breathing room.
Moving away from the Minecraft movie.
No.
Bye, Charlie.
Yeah, let's move on because there's something before this becomes something we have to talk about in court.
Yep, we don't.
Charlie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Charlie.
Keep it real. Kids these days, am I right?
Am I right?
Andy, I think you need to get that kid a guitar. Come on.
I need to get that kid out of public school. I think.
Send him to the mines.
That's
I
right.
know.
The children yearn for the mines.
Anyway,
And then the Nike.
Florida and DeSantis, every 6 months, it's some like new law, like, oh, now 13-year-olds can work on like offshore oil rigs. Like, they'll have options.
Oh my God! All that sweet overtime. It pays for itself.
Well, they got rid of the
cancer-
overtime too, but yeah, you know.
yeah, no overtime.
Cancer bills, yeah.
All right,
They've also lowered minimum wage.
let's move on to like the film at hand. So, Dick Tracy is a 1990 crime action film by Warren Beatty, based on Chester Gould's 1930s comic strip, and starring Beatty, Al Pacino, Madonna, Glenn Headley, and Charlie Korsmo, with a very wide range of cameos in the supporting roles. Synopsis in brief. Did they just fully deputize a child?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they definitely did.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to put it to a vote. I have a second synopsis in brief. I don't think I can pull it off though.
Let us be the judge of that.
Wait. He's going to do it all in Mumble's voice.
No.
Which voice are you doing?
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm having a thought. Oh yes. I'm going to have a thought. It's coming. It's gone.
I was waiting for you to like quote a famous president.
Chester A. Arthur.
Yeah.
Casey and the Sunshine Band.
The movie is noted for its production design, makeup effects, costuming, and high quality direction, with Beatty using a palette of just 7 colors to evoke the feel of the original Sunday comics. But the film grossed a worldwide box office of $162 million, seen oddly as a disappointment since it only made a quarter of the previous year's Tim Burton's Batman, which was filmed on a similar budget. Subsequent decades of legal squabbles around the property, primarily driven by Beatty himself, who purchased the film and television rights back in 1985, have prevented any further sequels or other adaptations from being produced. Although critical reception on the film was okay, if like a bit mixed, it received a 4-star review from Roger Ebert. I think this is the 6th 4-star Ebert that we've kind of covered on the pod. He wrote, "There was always something inbred about the Dick Tracy comic. Some suggestion that all of its characters had been mutated by the same cosmic rays, then locked together in a bizarre loony bin of crime. Warren Beatty's production of Dick Tracy approaches the material with the same fetishistic glee I felt when I was a young man reading the strip. The Tracy stories didn't depend really on plot. They were far too spun out for that. What they were about was the interaction of these grotesque people, doomed by nature to wear their souls on their faces."
Okay.
So,
Wow.
So this was Andy's pick, and this is also Neo-Neo-Noir films made from like 1980 on. This was also Andy's choice for like the movie cycle that we're going to do. So Andy, can you tell us like a little bit about just why this movie, and did you have this kind of in the back of your head when you initially pitched the noir cycle to us?
So, why this movie? So I'd actually, prior to this watching, I'd only seen it the one time. I saw it in theaters.
This is 1990.
Yep, I saw it in theaters, and
Same.
I remember being just kind of captivated by it back in the day. The only part of it that I remembered was that Madonna's character was the no face guy.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I really didn't remember any details. And so I figured, why not give it another try and see, does it hold up? Is it as good as, or is it as fun to watch as I remembered? You know, et cetera, et cetera. Did I have this movie selected when I chose the Neo-Neo-Noir. No, I did not. When I was going through a list of, noir movies from that rough time frame, the 80s on, it was one of a few that kind of jumped out at me as possible, as possible choices. Another one was actually Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which we watched in the last one.
I don't want to jump on trivia, but very interestingly, a Who Framed Roger Rabbit short ran ahead of this movie in the theatrical release.
Yep, sure
Oh,
did.
no way.
Roller Coaster Rabbit.
Wow.
And I actually remember that being the opening act or whatever of the movie when I saw it in the theaters, and thinking that was really cool too. This was right around the same time, 1990s, early 90s, when I think the very first superhero movie I saw, and probably most people saw, was Batman. I remember distinctly going to see Batman in the theater and thinking it was just unreal. Just
the best thing.
It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
Awesome.
He was the best Batman.
Yeah, it was just I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And
It was our generation's Minecraft.
Indeed. Yep.
No 69 in it though, unfortunately.
No lava chickens.
A lot of print stuff that was implicitly about that, though.
Yeah, I see
true,
that.
actually, that's a fair point. So yeah, I think I picked it because I thought it would be fun to watch again, and I thought it would make for an interesting conversation. I'll talk about it later, but I'm not sure that it held up the way that I wanted it to hold up. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
So let's kind of go around the horn with like the other guys. Let's talk kind of general impressions of the movie, but also any childhood memories that you have of either kind of watching this film or any exposure to the like the comic strip at all growing up. So Naveen, let's start with you there.
I had a little bit of relationship with the comic strip. I read them every once in a while.
Seriously? I think you're the first person I've ever heard say that.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Hartford Current, and we get this Sunday comics that would come in there, and every once in a while I would probably read it in a little bit. So that's how I kind of knew of Dick Tracy. I mean, I didn't religiously read it or really know it too well.
Right.
I knew a little bit of Flat Top and all those main characters, villains, and things before Dick Tracy. Yeah. But I mean, again, very minor. I wouldn't say I was professional. I was, knew it inside and out or anything, but very minor. And, knew about the watch and everything, which was always so cool.
Sure.
So there's that relationship. And then seeing the movie, it was kind of neat watching the movie and things at that age. And even now I still enjoyed it, and all the, back then, it looked real to me, but obviously now you can see the scenery is not.
It's extremely colorful and stylized.
Right.
And you draw a lot of again, kind of comic inspiration by like the palette and like the very beautifully kind of drawn backdrops. The costuming and the makeup effects, like I said before, which is really incredible for it.
Right, but even some of the transitions with the backdrop, knowing it's fake, but then one point you see the train going through it, or it zooms in on another section, and it's the people are moving.
A little reminiscent of like the crazy sort of kind of cross matting thing that it's stuff that they did such great effect in the Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. So,
Eric, how about yourself?
I think Naveen's reading from my notes. I wrote what I wrote to describe this movie is a cross between Batman, 89, Wizard of Oz, and Garbage Pail Kids. Because the makeup was Big Boy's makeup I thought was decent. Totally believable. I would not know that's Pacino unless I saw his acting, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all Pacino.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson. But yeah, they have what's that guy at the beginning? Is it like Tiny Face or something like that?
There's 5 C-tier Dick Tracy villains playing a poker game.
Yeah.
That are wiped out almost immediately.
It's a funny way to start the movie. It's like you're going to be in for this wild ride, and this is just a taste of what's to come.
Right.
And then that's when they just explore all the other his whole rogue gallery of baddies with Mumbles and Prune Face,
all of
and
whom
Flat Top
basically
and all
get
those guys.
murdered by the end of the movie, which is an extremely
They do.
interesting
They
sort of
all
thing
do
to
get
watch.
killed off.
Yeah.
But I agree with like the whole like setting the scene, just like it's one of those things where it's like it's not again beautiful sets for some of the scenes, but it's not like to create that world. It's these giant like shots of like wide shots of city and stuff like that, like New York or Chicago or something.
Right.
It's a lot of it's just hand drawn.
Yeah.
And like
But
when
the
Naveen's
scope
saying
of the hand drawn stuff is completely
it feels huge. Just what they create there, like the effect. But I do love the scene where it's like Dick Tracy's first run-in with the boy, and he follows him back after like he stole that watch or whatever.
Right.
Follows him back to the little like shack, and then
the shack
Tracy
like
pops up.
by the shack of Steve the Tramp, I believe, is like the character.
Steve the Tramp, yeah. Dick Tracy just starts wailing on him, like
Mm-hmm.
knocks the whole shack down, just beating the crap out of this guy. And then it just kind of like pans out shortly afterwards to like a scene where it's like what's her name? Madonna.
It pans all the way out, then all the way
club,
back
the
into
Club
the
Ritz.
club that Paul Sorvino.
And it's like, here's another section of the city and what's going on over here. And I'm like, that's a cool way to kind of move around and introduce these characters that are going to like intertwine at some point throughout.
Mm-hmm.
My first experience with Dick Tracy, though, I do faintly remember seeing this at probably at the movie theater. I do remember the Roger Rabbit short, so I must have seen it there. I remember afterwards too, me and my friend, we were just like, we loved, I don't know what it was, but Flat Top. We just thought he was so cool. This badass dude just shows up.
Great character design in the comic.
Always
great
killing
makeup
people.
job. Yeah.
Always killing people. It's got that weird shaped head, anvil shaped head or whatever. I do remember getting a few of the action figures.
Sure.
For
for like a year, the Disney merchandising and promotional machine. There was a Nintendo game. There were all these comics in the stores. There was a full range of action figures to go with this.
They were also released by
everywhere.
Playmates, who did like all the toys at the time, like the Ninja Turtle toys, and I'm sure like the Police Academy toys and all those ones. But I do remember I couldn't get Dick Tracy. This was something I had to go through like every year as a kid on Christmas. I would always ask for whatever like the newest toy is, and my parents would probably show up at like Toys R Us a little too late, and I get all like the B tier characters, or the ones that they have way too many copies of that nobody wants.
Right.
I remember I asked for like
you didn't have like a Jingle All the Way situation. Dad was not willing to fight for it.
Oh no! I remember one year I'm like, I want Darkwing Duck, and I want Launchpad, and I want all the characters, and I ended up getting like Webigail. Shitty Christmas. Really shitty Christmas.
That's like asking for like a Minecraft like Minecraft action figure, and like the only thing your parents bring back is like Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah. So the Dick Tracy action figures, I remember I asked my parents, I said, I want to get Dick Tracy. Did not get Dick Tracy. I did get Flat Top, but the other character I got was the one that appears briefly in the movie that they made an action figure of, so they could give Dick Tracy like a sidekick that's about his age. But it's the guy dressed in orange. Was his name like
one of the reporters?
Sam Ketchum or something like that?
No, the other detective or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And
played probably I don't know specifically who played that guy, but probably some dude who was like a major fixture, kind of like 60s and 70s, kind
probably
of
in the strip. Yeah. But I remember my friend and I, he's just like, who is this guy? And I'm like, this is the boy grown up. We'll call him Dick Tracy Jr. And so he was Junior.
Interesting. For me, I've got like a bit like an interesting history with this movie. My dad was a huge Dick Tracy fan, and like ahead of this movie coming out, Dad went out and bought me this very large graphic novel. It was kind of like a Dick Tracy compendium, where it was like, this strip started in 1931. So publishing and it was like a daily and weekly comic strip. So publishing all this stuff would have been impossible. So what they did basically was they took for every 10 year, every decade that the Dick Tracy strip had been published, they took like a 3-month run of what was considered like the best story, with like the best villain arc in it. So there was one arc from the 30s, from the 40s, 50s, 60s, kind of going all the way up to like Chester Gould was making these things, I think, well into the 70s. And then they had one or two other like artists who kind of just just ran down like the back of the book, and then the arcs that they had from like the 70s and the 80s. I read that thing cover to cover several times. I remember, like in advance, like this movie. Dick Tracy is a fucked up comic strip, to kind of like say like the least about it. It's the way that Ebert described it in the review, and that's kind of why I put it in the episode notes, was basically Dick Tracy is a non-character. Everything that he's doing is uninteresting. Everything that cops are doing is uninteresting. Chester Gould was just like a master at kind of drawing two things: deformed people and dead bodies. There is so it like the way that it's wild kind of reading these things, because you sort of picture 50s and 60s newspaper, it must be real sort of boring, kind of sedate. The way that kidnapping and like a sort of domestic abuse and torture and murder was like depicted in like in this comic strip was just fucking horrifying. And as like a 10-year-old, I was just completely like enraptured by the thing. So I
this one's for the kids.
This one's for the kids that like a little bit on the strange side. Going to start like a real weird podcast probably like as an adult.
Let's sink them in cement. We'll call it the bath.
Yeah,
kids hate baths.
The bath fucked me up. Just as good, because not only is the scene in the movie horrifying, but the actual lips manless action figure, which is how weird 1990 was like as a year, and like how strongly decent promotion. There's like a little mini Dick Tracy comic on the back, and when you looked at the back of the lips manless action figure, it actually depicted him getting submerged into the bath and then just dumped into the river.
All right, let me ask you this: how would you rather die, the bath or the dip?
Ooh, the bath or the dip? Oh,
the dip is quick.
Breathless
Quick,
Mahoney on my
pretty
100th
painful.
birthday. Just the things.
The bath.
things
You see these guys; they're just standing in a box.
Yeah.
And it's getting filled with cement.
Uh-huh.
They're not struggling.
Hmm.
They're just kind of sitting there, just
Not the
getting
bath,
covered in cement.
boy, not the bath.
Even Beatty just jumped in at one point. He's swimming in the bath.
Mhm.
I do have a question about the bath, though.
Sure.
So you put a guy in a box.
Uh-huh.
You cover him with liquid cement,
Sure.
and then you immediately drop him into the ocean.
Right.
The
Okay.
cement is never going to dry.
Mhm.
So that means that I would imagine eventually that body's going to float to the top, thus nullifying all of the work that you put into this bath. Right?
it's still fairly
You can
heavy.
walk on it, right?
Andrew,
Beanie.
it's not worth overthinking. It's the elder.
John F. Kennedy.
There's also it's just like the bath is such a memorable scene from the movie itself. Even when you play like the original Nintendo game, there's literally a digitized cutscene of Lips Manless being drowned in the bath, but it's all like kind of crazy orthogonal pixel art.
Thank God it wasn't him sucking down fucking oysters.
But wet
Here.
concrete is still fairly heavy, so
Right.
it's still going to weigh it down.
Oh, yeah, see?
But isn't it eventually gonna just sort of like dissipate and wash away? Because it won't dry. So it'll seep cracks in the box.
What if like the box is like airtight?
But then it can't cure, right? Because then there's no air.
What would be a good alternative to same structure,
Uh-huh.
but instead of cement, what else could you put in there besides?
Well, the thing that happened in Vegas was
No,
just,
answer this. Answer this, Johnny. I want the
All right.
truth. I want a real answer here.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I have somebody that I want to sink in the bath,
Okay.
but if I did have somebody I wanted to bathe,
Uh-huh.
I just want to know what alternatives I have.
We got to get rid of this body, Mr. White.
Loose gravel.
Eisenhower.
Why did Dick Tracy get into the bath in that scene?
It's a little convoluted, that scene.
You know how silly he was? He was laughing and he had his little pew all jammed up and he's like, I gotcha.
Right.
I was like, I wrote in my notes, you dumb dick. That was the best.
He's covered in
quote of the
cement.
whole movie.
Covered in cement, and
Also, the
For
best
what?
Tracy arc from the 50s. You dumb dick. Going flat top.
It was like several weeks of him orchestrating how he's going to like swap out to get in the bath.
It's a good question. Let's kind of go on, and Andy, can you take the lead on this? But so one of the talking points we had, Dick Tracy, it's an extremely unique visual style, inspired by like this crazy source material. Andy first, but kind of like to the panel generally, did Beatty and like his crew sort of rely maybe a bit too heavily on style and not focus enough maybe on like the actual sort of substance of the film?
So
we're sort of talking about like our experiences watching it, but we really haven't kind of dipped our toe in sort of any kind of critical analysis of kind of whether or not this is a successful movie or not. So Andy, what do you think?
I would say, coming off of the success of the original Batman movie, which was a ton of style, very stylistic, but also good plot, well written, good characters.
Ages amazingly well. Just watched it again a couple of years ago. It holds up incredibly.
It's a fantastic. So with that as sort of like the only other sort of kind of similar movie of the time, I think they leaned super heavily into style. Like, let's make this thing look just absolutely phenomenal up on the screen.
Right.
And then they got it up on the screen and it premiered and they went, oh shit, we forgot to write a story for this thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I was left feeling about the movie. Like there's a bit of story in there. And I think there's probably, they could have explored it a little bit more and made it more interesting. But I mean, like, why did Madonna decide to dress up as a faceless man and do all of the things that she, like, what was her motivation? What was she looking to accomplish with that?
Andy, let me iterate on your point like a little bit. I think my perspective on it's not so much that they did not have enough story. I think this needed to be 3 movies. In fact, they tried to pack a story where it's about Tracy being torn between 2 women. It's a story about like Al Pacino just being on all the cocaine. About Madonna just trying to be like a kind of Rorschach style sort of mass vigilante. The fact it's also a Sondheim musical.
Yep.
The fact it's not that they sort of fit in 3 or 4 extra sort of B-tiered Tracy villains like on top of it. They put in fucking everybody from the comic strip. And again, like the true bizarreness of this film is that just about all these characters are dead by like the end of the thing. To my thinking, it's like there should have been 3 movies. It should have been spread out. It should have been like he fights maybe Itchy or Mumbles in the first one. Flat Top is the villain in the second movie. You work your way up to kind of confronting Big Boy at the end of it. Like the amount of just stuff that they threw into like this goddamn thing, right?
And if it were being made today, that's what they would do. It would automatically be a 3-movie.
IP driven, we're going to do this 25, 27, and 29. Like,
it's a big risk though, because I mean, apparently you guys knew what Dick Tracy was when you were younger. I had no idea who he was, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't. Probably kids that are our age at the time. So it's like a huge risk. It's a big chunk of money to make the film, just one of them if you're going to do it as like a trilogy, just to make the first one, to kind of like feel the water to see if somebody, people will be attracted.
Even Batman the previous year had a beginning, a middle, and end. It did nothing to kind of set up like anything that happened to Batman Returns. That just wasn't how this kind of thing was kind of made back in the day.
Everybody was familiar with Batman, though. People knew Batman. People knew Superman. I mean, I don't think it's hard to kind of push like Batman on people.
Batman was something people our age had grown up on because we had our own version of it through Superfriends.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like before I saw the first Batman movie, I knew who Batman was. I knew who Joker was. My friend's older brother, I remember he had a book. It was called, what is it? The Greatest Joker Stories Ever Made, I think it was. It has a picture of Joker holding like a piranha that has a big smile on his face on the front. And it's like the first appearance of Joker and like all the best like Joker appearances throughout like the, Batman from like when it first started all the way to like, I don't know, like the 70s or something like that. So knowing they were making a Batman movie, I was, terrified more than anything. Cause I'm like, how are they going to make the Joker? Who's going to play the Joker? Like, he's just going to kill everybody because that's what he did in the original comics. Creative ways to kill people by, you know, making them laugh to death or something like that.
Which, especially when you consider 1989 and the fact that they did just that, is really kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Naveem, what do you think? Style over substance for the movie? Did you guys end up really enjoying this film? Like at the end of it?
I skipped through the last 25 minutes.
Really?
And I don't feel like I missed much. I started to get into it when Dick Tracy, he found Tess in the building. He got framed for like kidnapping Tess, right? And so then somebody,
he got nobody knew where Tess was. That was the Blank's plan.
The Blank. There's a name.
Framed for killing Dick Van Dyke.
The DA. Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, okay,
right.
Got it.
But nobody knew whether Tess had actually sort of been kidnapped or not.
I skipped a little through that.
Yeah.
But I got to the point where
anything if you watch it like
I
that.
probably didn't miss much. Dick Tracy jumps through the skylight, like smashes through.
Right.
And it's like Big Boy and Flat Top there, and they're like, grab Tess, and they're running out of the room. They're like, oh, we can't be, framed having her like on our property or whatever. And he's chasing after her. Every time Danny Elfman's music kicked in, especially at the very beginning, where it sets the whole mood where I'm like, oh, it's Batman. Here we go. Let's watch the Batman movie.
Right.
And then it's like the scene where
he kind of comes through the skylight, sort of like Batman a little bit.
He does. He does. Yeah. The way they filmed it too. It's like you see it from the back, and then you see like from the front as he's smashing through, and I'm like, oh shit's going down. This is going to be great. And then there's a chase scene, and then I skipped like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, he's still chasing him now to like what is it, like a church or something, a clock tower. They ended up in a clock tower or a factory or something.
It was like it was like the engine room of a drawbridge.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm gonna watch from here and just see how it unfolds. And it didn't make much sense to me. And I figured it was because I skipped a lot of it that I just missed out on the entire plot. Mm-hmm. So I went online and read about it, and then I'm like, oh, okay. It's just kind of mishmash.
Yeah. I mean, Big Boy got
Chex Mix.
Big Boy got thrown down just like the Emperor did by Darth Vader.
That's a very good call, actually.
That's yeah.
His last word, Chief Justice Warren Berger.
It definitely lacks some substance, and there was that little bit of plot, just the regular, basically cop versus mob kind of idea going on, which was nothing major really happened, and then of course Glenn Healy's character getting kidnapped and Beatty trying to get that and stuff. But overall, I would say really pushing towards that color palette of just green, red, yellow most of the time, some blue, and then the art of the scenes and everything. Probably definitely more of that stylistic. Again, focus more on that stuff as opposed to trying to get some kind of plot, and that's probably why it didn't do so well. It's like, all right, it looks great, but what's actually going on?
Batman, you kind of know what's happening the entire time. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You have 4 core characters. You have Eddie Valiant, you have Roger Rabbit, who's his partner, you have Dolores, who's the love interest, and you have Judge Doom, who's the villain. And that's pretty much it. And that's all you sort of need to kind of carry like a 90-minute movie. Like there was so much just comic and gangster shit happening in this movie. So much was explained through montages or spinning newspapers or just kind of, or like radio announcements or whatever the fuck else. And on top of everything else they're trying to do of like this kind of domestic story and this kind of 30s kind of, Chicago set gang war, they also found time to fit in 5 different original Stephen Sondheim songs, including a duet by Madonna and Mandy Patinkin.
Yes. Well, I believe the original film was supposed to be 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
Really?
I think it would be better.
It got,
maybe.
Forced to cut it.
More for me to skip. I do think though that maybe Warren Beatty touched upon something before this Batman Returns came out, which I picked up on is like the original Batman movie. You got to think who's the love interest in that one. I had to look this up, but I forgot. But the Vicky Vale,
sure.
Right?
Kim
Vicky Vale. I don't remember much about her, but thinking about this movie, I was like, I guess Tess would be the Vicky Vale, and then Madonna's character would be the Catwoman.
Sure.
So you kind of introduce that Catwoman type character
kind of noir feminine dyad. You have kind of like the good girl versus just like the good girl versus like the femme fatale kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I did write down another name for this movie should be called Tess Gets the Shaft. Because it was like know when you have that what's it called when you you talk with your wife, your girlfriend, or whatever, and you get like that free what was it called, a hall pass or something? Not a hall pass, but you get hall pass, right? You get the hall pass. So it's like if I ever come across like this famous actress or singer or whoever, like I get like get a jail free card and I can whatever with them, and it's cool because I called it out up front, and I don't know, maybe Warren Beatty was like Madonna, if it's ever Madonna, like it's gonna happen, and Tess just sees it happening in front of her, and just the first time she was like, oh, I'm gonna ride him so hard for this, but at the very end when Madonna's dying, she's like, I kind of did give him a hall pass, so just like finish it,
right?
And then he just makes out with her at the end, and then she dies, and then they go and get ice cream or something.
One of the one-line letter
what a movie
to this movie I really liked was kind of question mark. Is this movie about how it's okay to be in love with two women at the same time?
It's another Archie situation, isn't it? Why haven't they done that? That's a trilogy.
They're kind of contemporaneous.
It's basically Warren Beatty's life put on film up until that point. Like he was a known playboy.
He cast Madonna in that movie and started dating her like all that. But then he cast Annette Bening in Bugsy that he made about 3 years later, ended up kind of getting married and having 4 kids and just not being that guy.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
This was sort of like the end of that version of Warren Beatty, kind of.
The standing theory is that Carly Simon's You're So Vain was actually written about Beatty after like the two of them finished dating.
Yeah.
So let's go on to kind of like a little more sort of context for how like this movie sort of got made. And Eric kind of being like our kind of comic book historian, let's kind of start with you. Where does Dick Tracy stand in the lineage of comic book adaptations, especially compared to where we are today with modern superhero movies?
It's funny. I was thinking about this, like the 80s growing up. People never really talked about like, oh man, that was an awesome movie that was based off a comic book. It wasn't like, unless it was like a superhero film or like, I think Swamp Thing. They had Swamp Thing and people were like, what is Swamp Thing?
Stuff was very few and far between.
It's DC Comics. So, I mean, they're just pulling from the same line there.
They had the 4 Superman movies, which started very, very good. But the third and fourth were completely fucking weird.
Yeah. I was thinking too about this question. I'm like, Conan was a big one.
Sure.
The Schwarzenegger movies and Conan. I used to read those comics as a kid. Popeye was a same thing like Dick Tracy, newspapers. It was just like a newspaper comic.
Like a pretty popular comic that if you actually spend any time reading the original stuff is also incredibly weird.
Wow.
There's like this one B character in Popeye that literally just speaks by an EKG, if I remember correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember
he
that.
He would eat the spinach out of the can, and then he'd take a string and attach it to another can. And olive oil. All right, I should have just gone for the one.
Yeah.
You got greedy, Papa.
I did get greedy. I mean, I think even before Dick Tracy, though, we got Howard the Duck in '86, which is crazy.
The first live-action feature-length Marvel movie, 1988.
That is crazy.
Yeah. My favorite piece of trivia, you know who almost played the role of Beverly, but she dropped out last minute? Leah Thompson took her place. Do you know who this is? Tori Amos.
Huh? No.
Tori Amos.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Wow.
Interesting.
That would have been cool.
Leah Thompson.
Yeah, it is. It's a little. There's a naughty scene in there.
There was a very naughty scene.
That I come back to now and again.
Right.
Just
spice things up.
He wasn't a thing until after that.
It's normal now.
Yeah. They introduce you to the internet. But this was something I was saying on the group chat, but like sort of thinking back on so Dick Tracy is an inexplicable movie to kind of throw this, because it was just even for kids our age, it's certainly completely disappeared from like the culture like these days. But even for kids our age, we knew who Batman was because we had Saturday morning cartoons, we had Super Friends, we had the action figures kind of well advanced that. But then if you look at the live action comic book movies that got signed off, approved, had huge budgets and very big stars attached that kind of got made during the 90s. It includes stuff like, obviously Dick Tracy, but you also have the Alec Baldwin The Shadow, which was like a 40s radio serial. You had you had Billy Zane's The Phantom, which is like the whole thing is like, what if a guy wore a purple suit and was on a horse?
I believe that was like 96, which is...
It was 96. You had a full-on Zorro movie like in 1998. Like there's one more, sort of like big one that I'm sort
You
of...
said The Rocketeer, I believe?
You said
The
Rocketeer?
Rocketeer. So The Rocketeer is a little funny. It's actually, I thought it was like an old school comic like as well, but it's actually the comics from 1981. But the idea was basically it's a modern. It's the idea was like this is kind of a comic strip character that could have come from like the 30s or 40s. All of those films came before we had a live action big budget superhero movie starring Wonder Woman, Iron Man, anybody from the Avengers, anybody from like the Justice League. This all came ahead of a big budget fucking Spider-Man movie.
I mean, there was a lot of flops though too. A lot of like early Marvel flops they tried to roll out that just nobody even saw or even knew about. A bunch I wrote down though. I was thinking of this for a while. I'm like, and a lot of it happened around like the late 80s. That's when it just started to hit. And I think Batman kind of opened like the floodgates for this.
Sure.
Because you got to think like right after that, apparently they had a Captain America movie in 1990.
Yeah.
I don't.
Not a well-regarded one.
No,
awful.
Was it? Yeah. But
Never
they
saw
also had Ninja Turtles that was based off a comic, came out in 1990. They had
opened the same weekend as a perennial podcast punching bag, Opportunity Nuts.
We're in the
Classic.
90s.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I heard they would just let people in the theaters. If you like snuck in, they would just be like, "Just stay. It's fine. Do you want anything to eat?" Or they had to fill up the rows. But
it's in a cold spring. We need some warm bodies.
Did you guys ever see Tank Girl?
Yes, loved it.
I saw that on like Showtime or something like that, and I was like, "What is this movie?" And it had the that actress that was from
Lori Petty.
A League of Their Own.
Yeah, Lori Petty.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh my god, that's her."
He is a Kangaroo Man. If I remember.
Looked it up. It's a really filthy comic, by the way. Really filthy with these like kangaroo type characters. They're in the movie, but they have one. I think this is towards the end of the series. They had like this main run, which I think is over like 3 or 4 graphic novels. I went back and read them like maybe 10 years ago. And they have one where it's kind of like, let's explore the anatomy of the human versus the kangaroo creature. And they just have them kind of facing each other. And you're like, okay, Tank Girl, they, drew up. She looks pretty nice. I'm down with that. And then they show the kangaroo creature's anatomy. And you're like, somebody thought about this, and then somebody drew it, and then they're like, yeah, this is what we want. We want this. And then somebody published this, and then people bought this, and somebody reprinted it in a graphic novel. And somebody, unfortunate like me, took it out of the library.
It's the circle. Circle of life.
What an awful journey. Punjala. The Crow. The Crow was a great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. And that was based off a graphic novel. Whoever greenlit that. Or even Addams Family movies.
Like good ones, relevant, that were based on cool comics.
Yeah.
Relevant to people our age, started sneaking in. We got what I remember being a pretty good Spawn. We got Tank Girl, we got The Crow. Barbed Wire is something I feel like I should like visit as an adult because I've heard nothing about. Like it's kind of actually pretty good. It's just disappointed. Like 1996, Johnny was.
What about Judge Dredd with Stallone?
Judge Dredd, sure.
Did you see it? I've never seen it, but I really want to see the one that came out much later.
And Rob Schneider. That's
the one with Carl Urban.
Yeah,
the one with Carl Urban is awesome.
That's
good,
what I
yeah.
heard. That's what I heard. It's on Max. You can watch it.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I've been trying to watch it, and I heard it was pretty good.
Yep. Thought it
You,
was
you still
great.
don't
It was
know
like
about the T
2016
cells.
or something.
Yeah, well worth the watch.
Yeah.
He just
So-
comes in and he just, instead of being a judge, he just calls everybody a cunt.
Yeah, Conan.
Oh my
Um,
God, Dredd, where'd you shoot her? The cunt. He must be Australian.
So I had a thought about this question, and I don't have a fully formed, I guess, response to all this, but there's something that did occur to me. So to me anyway, this is the first movie I can remember that tried really, really hard to take the aesthetic from the comics and translate it to the screen.
Put real like heavy lifting effort into it.
Absolutely, yeah. And there have been, I would say, a number of other movies since then that have also done this same thing. 3 of which were actually directed by the same guy. You got Sin City,
Yeah.
300, and Watchmen.
I mean, this movie crawled so Sin City could run. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest sort of modern sort of yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking here is like, maybe the good, I guess if you, it depends on, I guess, how you feel about Sin City and 300 and Watchmen and The Mask and Scott Pilgrim and all that. But
I mean, it just Sin City's for me is one of the best films I've ever personally seen. So
I love Sin City. I thought it was great.
It's pretty good.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed 300 as well, for whatever it's worth.
300 was good.
I thought it was great. And Watchmen, even, I think.
I like Watchmen as well.
I thought
It-
it,
I think
it's
Watchmen
such
got
a
a
hard
bad
thing
rap.
to adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it got a bad rap. But
I liked Watchmen. It's just like the one thing you guys remember that character Rorschach, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that confused me about his character is why his mask was like just like a picture of like my parents fucking. Like I didn't. So that got nothing when I told that joke on like the last episode of Cunny that we recorded. I'm bringing it back. It's
Are
got,
you
like,
calling me
got
out
a
on
little
it?
bit of a smile this time from Papa.
You calling me out on that?
I like that
Yes,
joke.
sir.
I know your sense of humor, but I thought you just took a moment to be serious for once.
I like that joke. I'm giving you points for that. Yeah. Bingo. So anyway, yeah, that it just occurred to me that maybe this, I guess, to your point,
I'm
Johnny,
just happy to spend time with my friends.
Johnny, you said it better than I did when you said that this movie walked so that 300 could run. I think or not 300, but Sin
Very
City could run.
slowly, by the way.
Very slowly, and with little to no plot. Although I guess the argument could be made that 300 didn't have a ton of plot either. It was just a bunch of cut men.
I think the graphic novel was the same. It was just all about like the murder.
Yeah, lots of murder.
Violence is cool.
It is. We all know this.
Yeah. When I was answering this question too, I did mark this down. Kind of felt a little bad because I used to be really big into Spy vs. Spy comics back in the day. And I was like, how come they never made a movie about Spy versus Spy? They didn't. They
They
didn't.
made a
feel like
pretty
they should've.
bizarre Nintendo game.
They did.
Yeah.
You just keep setting traps for the other person. Try to.
I don't
Right.
remember it being
Crap.
great, but it was kind of there for its
I
time.
don't know. I was always had a soft spot for Spy versus Spy.
I think there was a movie called Spy vs. Spy, but I don't think it was based off of that. And then
Probably not. Probably
there's-
not.
You're
Kind
thinking
of
about
Mr.
ballistic expert and Sever, maybe.
maybe. But
you
there's
thinking of
also
Spy
Mr. and
Kids?
Mrs. Smith.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sure.
That was kind of like a Spy vs. Spy, wasn't it?
Weren't they both white? Who's spying on who?
Yeah.
And we move on to the
and
segment.
scene.
And the movie's been made. My bad.
Wait.
wait. Yeah.
Vigo Toes. Any trivia you guys want to like shout out before we like wind down?
So you mentioned the Roger Rabbit one,
Mhm.
but I thought this was interesting too. This film holds the record for the most Oscar wins for a newspaper strip-based film, with 3 wins.
Oh,
And
so like narrowly edging out Garfield, The Tale of Two Kitties.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those records where you're like,
Yeah.
cool,
It's-
I guess.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Land of
I
the
mean,
Blind, the One-Eyed Man.
Yeah.
You guys, any other trivia?
I have a good one,
Okay.
but I want Naveen to give his trivia first because mine's a callback.
Mm.
All right, sure. I just find it kind of funny. Warren Beatty asked for Danny Elfman to do the soundtrack and everything because of Batman, which is pretty interesting. And Elfman is like, Warren
Smart
Beatty
call.
was insane.
Everybody else did.
Warren Beatty was. I read that. Warren
Well,
Beatty
yeah.
was insane.
Warren Beatty was insane. And then Gene Hackman turned down the role of Lips because he didn't want to work with Beatty again because Beatty was insane as a director.
Right.
He worked with him on a previous film.
We don't have time to cover like the fact that Beatty's been for the last 35 years a complete lunatic about kind of holding on to the rights, and it's Dick Tracy will actually go into the public domain in 2027, which may actually kill him. We'll we'll have to kind of see like how that plays out.
Also, has he made anything since Dick Tracy?
4 movies in the last 25 years.
Yeah, so there you go.
And 2 TV specials dressed as Dick Tracy talking to Leonard Maltin, largely just kind of regarded as a way to kind of circumvent the rights reverting to Tribute Media, who just owned like the likeness kind of copyright originally.
Yep.
Eric, what you got for?
All right, this is what I've got. We're going back to Minecraft. I had to save this for now because bring it back. It wouldn't hit with Charlie as much as it hit with you guys.
All right.
But I thought this was really fun. So I'm not saying I'm obsessed about like the whole 69 scene, but it starts out right by Jason Momoa yelling at Jack Black, "I order you to make a full man sandwich." I did not know what he was screaming at him, right? He says, "I order you to make a full man sandwich." And I was curious. I'm like, who would come up with this? Like, it's clearly a 69, like a call to action for 69. Who would come up with this and put this in the movie? So I found on ScreenRant.com an interview with Jack Black and Jason Momoa, and somebody brought up the scene. And they're like, I think Jason Momoa actually wrote that part into the script. And so I'm going to read you part of this because I just think it's hysterical.
Okay.
So what happens is Jack Black asks Momoa, he says, "Hey, I think you wrote that, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm giving credit to SNL." And Jack Black's like, "Oh, Robert Smigel." And Momoa's like, "Yeah, Gay Scenari from Gary and Ace from Ambiguously Gay Duo." And he goes, "Yeah, I love how they do those things." So it's basically like describing the 69 like it's a cartwheel upside down. And they go in, fight all the bad guys. And I thought it'd be really funny because Top Gun came out. And I thought when he pulled the pause and hit the Christ, and he slides down my body when I hit the brakes, flip it, and then it's nose to nose, nose to toes, tip to tip. Know what I'm saying? Man sandwich. This is his response interview. And Black goes, "Yeah, toes to nose to toes." Momoa says, "And we had to squeeze the cheeks so he can make it through the hole." And Black says, "The only way we could make it through that hole was with aerodynamic man sandwich. And we had to go in as tight as possible." And so Momoa says, "Too much brawn up top. So if we're like this, we're not going to fit."
Wow.
Okay, I'm just going to put out, not care for the movie. Those two need a podcast.
And that got left in the movie. And everybody noticed how awkward it was. Yeah. And they're like,
"What? What's everybody staring at?"
And Charlie's buddy and everybody in like the whole audience, when they saw the film, knew what was coming out of Jason Momoa's mouth when he's just like, "I order you make a full man sandwich." Ugh.
And then there's something. Can we go back to the pandas? Is that how dating works?
Yeah. There's also another quote after that. "Just relax. Let my hips guide you."
That's
Jesus.
Wow.
Christ.
So
I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm just
Dick
saying
Tracy
that one scene.
So what's the trivia on Dick Tracy in that?
Inigo Montoya was the piano player in Dick Tracy.
They were the little pianists of their time.
Wish. Yeah. The call, and I had to look this up. His name was 88 Keys.
88 Keys.
Yeah. The only like little bit of trivia I want to share is just like thinking back to my dad was reading the Dick Tracy Compendium, and when he hit the one in the 60s, it was in a story he remembered from like when he was a kid, and it was a story that he remembered really, really well. So it's a plot about like a villain named Spots that's not really depicted in the movie because it's literally just a guy with like a face who's blank from like the nose up. But every direction he's looking, there's spots just kind of coming out of his eyes, but just kind of floating in midair. So it'd be like just impossible basically to replicate, particularly in a 1990 movie. But at one point, there is this side story of what's called a horrifying deformed baby that gets found in a park, and it gets tied in like Tracy gets involved and kind of like saves the baby, and it gets tied into like, oh, this baby is actually abandoned by this mother, by this young woman who's like forced to by like her evil mother who's in kind of cahoots with like this villain Spots. And initially in the run, you see people like every time they look at the baby, like, oh, he's so hideous, he's so deformed, it's so awful. And then it actually cuts to when Tracy finds it, he takes it to the hospital, and you see the baby for the first time, and it's just a baby with a beard. It's a baby with a full, luscious head of hair and like a little tiny beard. It's the cutest thing you ever saw. And I remember Dad reading it and going, "Little boy beard." I remember this. So I'm going to share these photos, like little boy. So it's funny just on its own. But like The Thing and my friend, forgive me for this, but I was looking at little boy beard, and all I could think of was how Eric looked with the haircut that he had in 2009. So one quick second here.
Let's see it.
Let's see. Here's little boy beard.
I'll be the judge of this. I was waiting for you to say, oh, and he shows the baby's face at the very end of the strip, and it's like Dick Tracy's face, and you're like, ha 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 ha.
Little boy beard.
A little Fu Manchu mustache or something.
Yeah.
Where is it? Are you sharing it?
Yeah, it's in the group chat.
It's in the group chat, yeah.
Oh. Let me see.
That child is its eyes are haunting.
Don't say anything until I look.
Sorry.
I need to know how to respond.
All right, one more quick Star Wars reference.
God, what is this? It's like Baby Quicksilver.
Yeah. Star Wars reference. Go, Naveen.
Yeah. All right, so I already talked about Big Boy being thrown down the shaft, like Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
What you guys remember? I think it's this one. The sound.
Eric just a little boy beard.
Sorry, I just saw the newspaper article where it says a little shaver and a big question mark.
I would kind of encourage people, like if you can find like a cheap copy, seek out the old Dick Tracy strips, particularly the Chester Goulds, were fucking wild, like in that way.
Holy shit! Found abandoned at the foot of the old war tank. The baby boy with the beard has caused a sensation. And then somebody's quote, "Nothing like him in medical history."
Wow.
The same was said about Eric back in 2009. I mean,
have you not called this one out? Somebody's playing with the beard.
Yeah, you can comb it.
One pointer finger, like flicking the beard, and it says, "Yes, it's real. You can comb it." This is like the end of comics back in the day, and they're selling like all those little knickknacks and fun inventions and stuff like that. And it's like
right next to the X-ray specs.
Yeah, I know. What is this? Glue on baby beard. It's real. You can comb it.
A little shaver is just a delight.
It's a little shaver.
And Naveen, you're saying about Star Wars.
The scene where Leia dresses the bounty hunter to get Han Solo out of the carbonite.
Oh, sure.
The voice, is that the same voice, like sound effect?
I
see what you mean. Yeah.
I was like, that's all I could think of. Was like, that sounds like the No Face voice.
Was it obvious that was Madonna? I feel like I remember that was the big reveal.
I remembered it from the original. I 50-50, I would like pegged it like watching this kind of like fresh as an adult.
I was like, who else is it going to be? Everybody.
Who else is it going to? Exactly. Right.
But as Andy mentioned earlier, it was like, why? What was her motive? I
didn't understand.
That's kind of the point
helping Tracy
off the rails, I guess. But
I skipped like 40% of the movie, so I'm not the best person to ask this question.
But you had seen it before, right, Eric?
I have. But I saw it probably the same time you saw it.
Yeah.
When you were like 10 years old.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I will say, like I mentioned Garbage Pail Kids. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie or gone back to that movie.
Seen it, haven't gone back to it since I first saw it.
The effects, like the makeup, it's like spot on to this movie.
But what's wild is like is
grotesque.
how spot on. Like again, this was the great talent that Chester Gould had, drawing deformed people and dead bodies. Like you go back, you look at the original design of these things, and just all of it is in like the source material.
I'll say this. My favorite for like for makeup for this film was Prune Face.
Sure.
I just thought it was so interesting. I don't know what was about it.
I think like
really
flat top for me, because you actually like look at photos of William Forsythe, like his head is like a third of like the size of what he was kind of carting around.
It's kind of like I don't know.
The same as Tiny Face. Like the only way to make the Tiny Face, they made his head like extra large.
Right.
And he shops at Tiny Hats.
The only way to make a face tiny is you got to get the head extra large. Emperor Palpatine.
Do you think that's where Mike Myers got his Gold member like inspiration from with the whole
Gold members from? I remember reading that somewhere.
There's a tiny face joke in an earlier season, Rick and Morty, that I kind of think they may have actually sort of like kind of like ripped off from this.
Well, I'm talking about how in Goldmember he would just always, be like, Bad News Bears, Walter Matthau, and stuff. And then in this Dick Tracy, it was every once in a while like Ben Franklin. Just throw out like Thomas Jefferson.
It could be. So let's kind of wind down there, gentlemen. That was the Neo-Neo-Noir cycle. Kind of closing thoughts on the cycle itself. You have a good time with these movies that we watched.
I did. I enjoyed them. Watching them, revisiting some of them, it was cool. And just seeing that something like Dick Tracy, I mean, yeah, it was weak in the plot, but still really cool to watch visually and relate back to it. Roger Rabbit, again, really cool to watch. It
Very
was
fun to revisit that one.
Just revisit some of these things, which was really nice. And then see some, that I wasn't too familiar with. So a good little theme.
I was I think I'm grateful that you guys picked what you did pick, because I was expecting with Neo-Neo-Noir it was going to be all like serious films. And it was just like a mixed bag of all kinds of different stuff, and it stayed on theme, so that was pretty positive. Calling it Neo-Noir, and then having no noir but Neo's in it. Drinking it.
It was a premise.
Noir.
It was a premise.
It was something. It was a something.
Yeah.
Andy,
I haven't seen Kiss Bang Bang or The Handmaiden either, so those are pretty neat.
Yeah. No. I'll say this. I've seen all these movies before as part of this cycle, but I haven't seen them in a long time. So It was cool to come back to each one of them.
It was interesting for like it sounds like most of us have only kind of like for Roger Rabbit and Dick Tracy, like the last time we kind of came, like the most of us came back to these was seeing these in the computer like originally as kids.
Yeah, because even Handmaiden 2, I saw that and I don't remember walking away saying like that was a fantastic film. I was like, it's a good film. I like how it kind of played out at the end, but I think I also, when I first saw it, was like Naveen, where I was like drowsy the first half. Because it just felt like ages, where it wasn't really, you have like a very simple plot and I'm like, what am I doing here? This doesn't feel like anything special or anything. Like, where's the revenge? Like, I'm familiar with this guy's movies, so when's something going to happen, and why do I have to wait like an hour to get like a taste of where
it's a bit of a zag at first before it really kind of comes back around and does become like a Park Chan-wook movie.
Yeah.
Andy, thoughts on the cycle being like your pick?
Yeah, so the highlight for me, I think, was Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, because I hadn't seen it. But and I'm surprised by this. The Handmaiden, I think, it very much took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. And as it's been mentioned, it's a little slow in the beginning. So I went into it thinking to myself like, boy, here we go. Right. And the first maybe 15, 20 minutes didn't really do anything to change that opinion. And then all of a sudden the whole thing just sort of goes in a different direction than I was expecting it to go in. And it was really quite cool. Roger Rabbit is a classic, a movie that I will always love. I will always enjoy watching. My pick, honestly, is the one that let me down the most. I was really hoping to enjoy it more than I did. Visually, it was super cool, and I can see why I was drawn to it when I was younger, with my interest in art and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But I think it was the weakest film of the four by a long shot.
I understand that. I'm kind of in the same boat, but I will certainly say, like, it's not great, but it's not great in a really interesting way. It's not a conventionally, the things about it that don't quite work. It's because of a lot of crazy shit rather than like the way that you're just kind of accustomed to kind of boring movies kind of being boring.
Yeah, I think I'm glad I rewatched it. I don't know that it's something that I would go to revisit again, again, period. But yeah, it was, I think all in all, it was a fun cycle. And to Eric's point too, I agree that it was cool that we kind of all went in very different directions. I think probably Roger Rabbit and Dick Tracy were the two sort of closest in feel a little bit, but the other two were
kind of joined at the hip a bit, but yeah,
a little bit. But the other two were so different that it was fun. It was a good time.
I do like your two callbacks though, like this film for this cycle, and then the last cycle was Street Fighter, because those are two I've been like meaning to like revisit at some point.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's like, when like there's a film that you come back to and, it's just kind of silly, but you forgive it for that. And you can put it on the background and still kind of enjoy it. Dick Tracy, I'm not sure I could ever do that with, but Street Fighter, I feel like I could.
In terms of Andy's kind of like, in terms of Andy's kind of picks for the show, he's had a couple sort of weirdo niche 90s picks, Valkenvania and Street Fighter, both were movies I had no background in, was not expecting anything of. And fucking was just kind of grinning ear to ear the entire time. It was a little bit surprising to me that Dick Tracy, which I figured would be in kind of the same bag, that just for whatever reason did not have kind of quite the same sort of juice.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I really enjoy kind of doing a noir cycle. Sort of, it got me really excited looking at the big spreadsheet of other kind of like movies that would kind of possibly kind of qualify for like doing something like this. I think probably my sort of favorites for me, I would probably sort of, put kind of Roger Rabbit at the top, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang after that, kind of Dick Tracy at the bottom, just Handmaid sort of being like my own pick. I'm sort of like kind of prejudiced against that, but like I kind of feel maybe it might be interesting trying to do another noir cycle and just trying to also keep it sort of
so much stuff in that list
and loose and open, and try to kind of like make our picks in a way that kind of give like the same kind of diversity that we sort of got for like this cycle. I mean, for me, just sort of kind of watching kind of Bob Hoskins and Roger Rabbit, and then reading about how fucking just wild and violent and just kind of crazy and beloved his 70s and 80s kind of British noir stuff is. I mean, that for me, I know would be my picks to kind of check out like the OG stuff that he kind of did right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's wind that down. Let's talk a little bit. Coming up, we're going to start our unconventional superhero cycle. Now, this was Eric's pick. And so, Papa, you want to tell us like a little bit about why you thought this would be a good cycle, and then give us your pick for what we're going to be watching on an episode coming up.
I think what it is for me, it's like when people talk about superhero movies nowadays, it always comes back to like the MCU.
Yeah.
It's just, or like
it's kind of become the culture, like the defining thing of the past.
Superman comes out again. That's a thing again. They had that recent Batman resurgence. But it's always like the same old stuff. You don't see them tinker with too many unique ideas. And I think I kind of wanted to take it back to, what about all those other superhero movies where it doesn't fall into like one of those categories, not like a DC or a Marvel thing. It's just something different that somebody tried, or maybe it was just like a small property that somebody picked up and made into a movie. And it's a superhero movie, but it's different than what you're used to expecting. So I said, why not? Let's throw it out there and see what there is.
Nice.
Okay. And your pick is going to be.
I picked a movie from 1997. Do you guys want to guess?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to say, and I took this to heart when I first heard it. I've never seen anything in my life to kind of change my mind on it. There was nothing sadder than a sad Japanese man. Yeah.
Dad, I don't want to do hamster style anymore. Okay.
I love this movie.
What is it?
You don't know? Oh,
Whoa.
yes. This is the second live action movie put out by Trey Parker and Matt Stone called Orgasmo. Orgasmo. The first one was Cannibal the Musical, which is also, it's pretty good. It's not the best, but it's got some good moments.
I have never seen this.
Do you want to
Oh,
tell you a
man, you're
little
in
about
for a
it?
treat.
Or we want to walk into a blind
elevator
night?
pitch to Andy for Orgasmo.
Sure. Trey Parker plays a Mormon who he gets coerced into doing porn movies as a superhero known as Orgasmo. He has his Orgasmerator, I think it's called, which is a little gun on his arm that when he shoots somebody, they instantly have an orgasm. And he has his sidekick Choder Boy, which is he's so good. He's so good. Choder Boy.
Yeah. So Choder Boy is his sidekick in like the porn films, but then they sort of go out, and Choder Boy's like, yeah, I actually have like 3 PhDs from MIT. And all these kind of like goofy sort of weapons and gadgets we make for like porn films. I actually have working versions of them I've been making in the garage. So after making porn films, they go out and try stopping crime.
That's true. Yeah. And then they find out, later on that the guys that forced them to do the porno films are like, criminals. And so then they try to take them down.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. This is one of the best
Real
movies.
superheroes doing real superhero things.
You are no match for us, Orgasmo. Prepare to meet your doom.
My second pick, by the way, I didn't tell you guys.
So I
94.
Call it. Guess except for like dirty anime that sort of came out that year.
Oh, no.
Are you going to make us watch Magical Twilight came out that year? Dirty Pair came out that year. You're a sick fuck, so I didn't have like any of those off the table for you.
Wow. Okay.
What was your 94 pick though?
The Mask.
I had that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why not? That's it. It made me think of like Roger Rabbit or like Dick Tracy or something. I'm like, I remember really liking it. I want to see if the special effects hold up. I looked online, and a lot of people are like, it's still a solid movie. It's just so good. So.
I watched it not super long ago.
Oh yeah,
and it 100% holds up.
That's
awesome.
Still great.
Yeah, that would have been a fun one, but I mean, or just
next time.
Next time. All right, Andy. Let's. So you had a couple picks, one from 99 and one from 84, and it sounds like you were leaning towards the 84 pick. But where are you with what we're going to watch for the cycle?
So I am going to choose the 1984. Well, let me explain why I had two. So the 1999 pick is the one that I think is the most obvious for this cycle.
Yeah.
It's one that we've discussed in the past just briefly, and I don't know if we did it on camera or off. I don't remember. Probably or on mic.
I think it was on camera. I think it was.
It's a movie that I adore, but it seemed a little too obvious to choose Mystery Men.
It's not a mystery.
It's like when we were doing superior sequels if somebody had done like Empire. Like it's just a little.
It was too obvious. So as much as I really feel like that movie deserves to be watched, maybe we save it for another time.
Sure.
So I did decide to go with the 1984 pick, and I have chosen The Toxic Avenger.
Yes. And you've not seen this before.
Yeah.
I have not seen it
either.
I wanted to pick this, but I was just like, I'm not sure this is Andy's thing.
Well, here's the thing. So I have seen not the same thing at all, but They did a cartoon, The Toxic Avenger, back in the
Oh,
90s.
yeah.
The 90s cartoon that was
Toxic
like pretty
Crusader.
popular, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Love
And
that.
I loved that. I thought it was great. I am also very intrigued by the remake that they're doing with Peter Dinklage right now. That I think I would really like to see because I like him a lot. So I figured before I see that, I should see the original. When I was doing some research on it, words like disgusting, gross, and other words of that nature proliferate. So I thought, I know Johnny's going to like it. I have a feeling Eric's probably also going to like it.
I've seen this
Oh, yeah.
movie plenty of times. So yeah.
And I figured
Trauma
Naveen
film.
had seen it because Naveen has seen every movie that's ever been made.
Truth.
So I figured I thought it would be fun for me to come to it
I've
with
not seen
fresh eyes and see what you guys think about it as well. So that's my choice. Toxic
I
Avenger.
love this. You just keep like growing as we go along. Like you explore these like new avenues you would never do in the past, and so
Yep.
I'm proud of you.
I do it for you guys.
All right.
Proud of you.
Let's
Charlie
ring
would
the
be
best
proud.
battle.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
Jingle.
All right. So real quick. My pick is a 2022 indie film called Hundreds of Beavers.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah. This is this movie. It's basically a
Not familiar with that
live-action
either.
video game adaptation. It falls around. It falls around a video game hero named Jean Kayak, who goes around the Canadian wilderness and he's trying to level up by gaining skills, learning how to fight and hunt and trap, and sort of like buying weapons and equipment. His end goal is to go to war with the army of beavers that destroyed his apple orchard and Applejack distillery at the start of the movie. I'll only kind of say like extra, like this kind of draws inspiration from three primary sources: Buster Keaton, Tex Avery, and Metal Gear Solid. This for me is one of the best new things I've kind of watched this year. It's essentially like in the public domain right now, and I'm looking forward to watching and talking
It's
about
on Prime. I saw that it was
it. It's free on Prime, and it's actually free if you have a YouTube Premium right now.
Oh, man, I picked the wrong year. So when you asked the other day, we were on the chat and we're talking, and you're like, one word to describe it. And Andy took a guess. I didn't realize I picked a movie from the wrong year, and that you didn't say anything. You led me on like a little bitch.
You said, well,
I said Miles.
I ignored Miles, but I ignored you. You said Miles after I think you sort of misread the text, and you sort of thought I was asking for one-word descriptions of my picks generally. To which you responded, irrelevant, obscure, and horny. All very hurtful.
Yeah.
All very hurtful.
Is that
How wrong was I?
Wait.
I got 2 of 3, right?
Do any of those describe this movie?
It's got beavers.
There's beavers.
Beavers.
Lots
Beavers.
and lots of beavers.
Got
And
it.
it's pretty
Got it.
obscure. When you see just the trailer, you're going to be like, what the fuck am I going to be walking into?
This is
I thought it was fake. When I saw the trailer for this online, I thought this was an ad for something. I didn't think it was real. And then I saw that it was like a full-length movie.
Yeah.
So I said, how can they make a full-length movie about, like, it looks cartoonish almost with like all these beavers, and it's really fast-paced. And
Eric is going to watch this movie. Eric is going to love it, and he's going to love it to a degree that he's going to be mad at me, like a little bit.
Are you sure I'm not going to say, okay, what does this have to do with unconventional superheroes? Is he really a superhero?
Yeah.
You are recommending it.
As
so you may not
much
even watch it.
Orgasmo is.
He's actually a superhero. He's got the orgasmator, so he just pew pews. That's how you fight crime.
Superhero defined as a story protagonist with exceptional like abilities and skills beyond that of like a normal human being. Watch the movie, then we can have the discussion about it like after.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to draw like dozens of beavers.
Yeah. No, not dozens, hundreds. It's right there.
Copy and paste. Copy and paste. Or make
Yeah,
one big beaver.
Right.
One
Eat the
beaver
rest
and
of the
then
beavers.
Uh-huh.
I really wanted it to be Across the Spider-Verse. I wanted you to say that's like an unconventional superhero movie.
The
So
Spider-Man
different
movie
than-
made billions of dollars. No, like literally a billion.
You always do this thing where you pick a movie and
Uh-huh.
it's just like you're trying to pick something to go with the theme, but it's just kind of like
Uh-huh.
a little like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
I like the Zag.
adjacent, theme adjacent.
Right. Theme adjacent.
But Spider-Verse was 2023, so
Uh-huh.
our loss. I guess.
Oh, yeah. Like, fair enough.
Yeah. So I was off by a year, so
Okay.
I kind of
That scene in The Handmaiden where like Suki is cradling Hideko to her breast, and she says, "If I had milk, I would give it to you."
yeah.
Would I deprive my friends of that? Even in my worst day, would I say, "No, let's do some other fucking like 80s"? No. Just.
So you're saying hundreds of beavers is your titty milk?
I'm feeding it to you guys. Hundreds
We're
of
gonna
beavers.
we're gonna suckle at that teat, Johnny.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
You're
Still,
gonna say you're gonna watch hundreds of beavers, and you're just gonna be like, you know what? One word review. Damn.
I was gonna be like, not my favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper album.
Yeah.
They were. It was a little much even for them. Naveen, what do you got for us?
All right. Are you guessing this one, or I'm just telling you what it is?
1990. I'm
I know what it is. It better be what I think it is. If it's not, you're off the pod.
okay. So, Andy, do you have a guess?
So I don't know that this movie came out in 1990, but I think it did.
It did.
I do have a guess.
Uh-huh.
Should I say it or should I?
Say your guess. Say your guess. I know my guess better be right, and if it's not, it's going to be changed to be correct. So,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think in
right?
Ninja Turtles.
has to be, please. There's 4 of us.
Oh, damn. I'm sorry. It's not.
Okay.
Wait, really?
No,
Really?
It's not.
no, leave.
Sergeant. Okay. Second guess.
Wow.
Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD.
What's
It
that?
can't be
What?
that fucking movie.
Oh, like,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course. Right
I was like, I
response.
thought I was
What?
gonna be. I was worried I was gonna be, predictable.
Damn it, Naveen.
But no, it wasn't. It's not.
After I called you Roger Rabbit. I knew it was Roger Rabbit. But this
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
opportunity knocks all over again.
it is. It is. I went with Darkman.
It was
Oh,
okay.
Oh.
Damn it.
Okay.
Okay. I was like, it couldn't be that. I mean, of course it could be, but
Yeah.
oh,
Went with Darkman.
okay.
So we
Okay.
got a bit of a serious one in the midst of this nuts. That's probably good. It gives like a little kind of like change up.
I feel like I don't know. We
Mhm.
kind of have to do Ninja Turtles now. Give me a reason, please.
Should
That-
Put
we,
it in as
are we
That
adding
first
this
Ninja Turtles
show?
is fucking great.
the week
No
that Naveen can't be on the pod and we have to come
Oh.
up with something. Let's
Hmm.
just do like a Turtles-a-thon.
Okay.
Without me? Oh man, damn! You're punishing me
Hey, you
hard.
had your chance, Naveen, and you fucked it up.
Apparently.
You had a solid 90. You didn't even have a backup. You're just like 90.
Oh, I had
So
plenty of
that's
backups.
confidence.
I had plenty of backups.
Were your backups also the year 1990?
No.
You should have gone with that other one.
Naveen, I'm excited to watch Darkman again. I haven't
Sure.
seen it since I don't even know when.
Liam Neeson and Francis McDormand. Am I remembering that right? And
Yeah.
Sam Raimi directing.
That is correct.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's good.
All right.
I'm sure it's good.
It's okay. So we got Orgasmo, The Toxic Avenger, Hundreds of Beavers, and Darkman coming up for our unconventional superhero cycle.
This one's going to be weird, guys.
Yeah.
this
Thank
is
you for
gonna
not
be-
picking the
As
obvious one,
opposed
though.
to the last 49 episodes.
That's a fair point. Okay, you're right.
This is gonna be the one where we zag. This is gonna
Yeah,
be
I
you're right.
thought somebody was gonna pick like Kick-Ass for sure, but I'm glad nobody did.
Yeah.
No,
That's
I think
'cause
it's
Aaron
too.
Taylor Johnson sucks.
Yeah,
He does.
it's too big of a one. It did well.
Really? Yeah, it's on Tubi. It's
Yeah.
there if you want to see it.
kind of everything.
Actually, Kick-Ass was pretty good.
It was
I
good.
started watching it again recently, and it just wasn't for me. I don't know.
Hmm.
It didn't hit as well as it did before. The sequel though had Jim Carrey. Remember?
It did.
He also got killed like
Right.
fairly early on, I think.
That was kind of the last thing he did until the Sonic movies, like about a decade later.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Feels about right.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Was Eternal Sunshine that was in between? No.
That has to, that was right after college. I think that has to be
I
like.
think
that,
when Kick-Ass 2 came out. Good God.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, we're at time right now. So, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, good cycle, good theme. Enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next one.
Yep,
Yeah.
good time.
Good times. All right. That was episode 49 of Rebels Without a Pod. And, gentlemen, thank you so much. And see everybody hopefully next week.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Later.
Bye.